I would like you to tell me who you are and how do you connect to the Catholic Worker, and then I'd like to fit in any history, Dorothy Day, Peter DeMott, Daniel Berrigan, and I'll interrupt you once in a while.
Okay.
Great.
Well, yeah, I've been involved with the Catholic Worker movement since 1975.
And give me your full name.
My name is Brian Terrell.
Terrell.
And when I was 19 years old, I dropped out of college in Wisconsin and traveled to New York City and lived there for the next 4 years, and then lived at the Davenport Catholic Worker.
This was in the early 70s sometime?
1975.
75.
And
Dorothy Day was alive then?
Yes, I was. Dorothy Day died in 1990, so I left about a year before she died.
1980, right?
1980.
Yes.
So I left about a year before Dorothy died.
Yes.
And
so you've actually met her?
Oh yes.
Yes. Can you tell us a few anecdotes, a few snippets of time that you spent with her?
To quote Stanley Wisniewski, once you got to know her, she was just another crabby old lady. But no, of course, a great influence on my life. I was 19 years old, and she was 79 when we met. And very, very, very impressive person, a very strong presence.
Yeah.
One of my experiences with her was I was working on the newspaper in an office that was right near the chapel, and I was by myself and I had the radio on, and when Dorothy had the radio on, she'd be listening to the opera, and I was listening to a rock station, and someday, I think it was Carly Simon song, I Haven't Got Time for the Pain, and a stupid, sappy love song, all about how, it used to be that I felt sad, and it used to be that I was down, and I worried about the world and everything, but now I found my special someone, and now I haven't got time for the pain. So she's walking, and she's a very tall woman, but she's stooped. She's on her cane, and she's walking by the door, and she wasn't going to bother me. She wasn't going to stop and say hello or anything. But the music, the words of the stupid song caught her ear, and she stiffened. And she stood up real straight and tall and looked real disgusted at me, and she shook her cane and she said, "You must always have time for the pain." And then bent over again. And hobbled off.
Wow.
With her cane.
Very few words, but very poignant.
Right, and it was like she was blaming me for this.
Yeah.
For my whole generation.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I was there for 4 years, then I came back to the Midwest, and actually I was here at Sugar Creek the first time when I was still living in New York. I was out here visiting, and we had the first Catholic Worker Gathering here in 1978.
Wow.
And
cool.
Then I came the next year. I moved to Iowa, to the Davenport House. And one thing is, if you look at the picture that we took, we all fit in between the rails of the porch before. There was like 20 or 30 people those first years. And also there were no kids. And it wasn't that people left them home.
Right.
Is that at that time people stayed at the Worker for a very short time. It was something that young people did. For the most part, there were a few people who made it a lifetime commitment. But there were very, very few, and people who we just didn't have families. We didn't have generations. And,
well, you're also young.
And over 30-some years, it's like, our kids, Elijah and Clara, are both grown, and this was one of the most important events for the year. This was on the level of Christmas and their birthdays to them. Right. And you see that now with the children who are running around here. And so it just gives me, the Catholic Worker movement is about the only thing in the world now that gives me any kind of hope.
Wonderful. Let's stop for one.